I always thought living alone in an old house would be liberating. No nagging roommates, no noisy neighbors, just me and the quiet. But now, as I sit here in the dimly lit living room, surrounded by shadows that seem to dance in the flickering candlelight, I realize that silence can be deafening and solitude can be suffocating. It all started a few weeks ago when I moved into this quaint little house at the edge of town. The realtor had warned me about its history, something about a tragic incident that occurred years ago, but I brushed it off as superstition. After all, ghosts and ghouls were the stuff of bedtime stories, not something to be taken seriously. But now, as the clock strikes midnight and the house creaks and groans with a life of its own, I can't help but wonder if there's some truth to those old tales. It began innocently enough. Strange noises in the dead of night, footsteps echoing down empty hallways and doors slamming shut on their own. At first, I chalked it up to the house settling, the wind rattling the windows. But as the days passed, the occurrences became more frequent, more sinister. I tried to ignore it, to convince myself that I was just imagining things. But then I started seeing things. Shadows flitting past doorways, figures standing at the foot of my bed in the dead of night. I would wake up drenched in sweat, heart pounding in my chest, only to find nothing there but the oppressive darkness. I thought about leaving, about finding a new place to call home. But something held me back. A morbid curiosity, perhaps, or a stubborn refusal to admit defeat. So I stayed, telling myself that I could handle whatever this house threw at me. But as the nights grew longer and the shadows grew darker, I began to question my sanity. Was I losing my mind, or was there really something malevolent lurking within these walls? I tried to research the history of the house to uncover the truth behind its haunted reputation. But the more I delved into its past, the more I realized that some secrets were better left buried. And then, one fateful night as I lay awake in bed, paralyzed by fear, I heard it. A soft, whispering voice, barely audible above the howling wind. It spoke words that chilled me to the bone, words that seemed to seep into my very soul. It hissed, a cold breath against my ear.
Before it's too late.
And so, with trembling hands and a pounding heart, I packed my bags and fled into the night, leaving behind the house and its haunted memories. But even now, as I sit in the safety of my new home, I can't shake the feeling that something followed me, something dark and malevolent, waiting patiently in the shadows for its next victim. And as I drift off to sleep, I can't help but wonder if I'll ever truly escape the horrors of that cursed house, or if its ghostly presence will haunt me forevermore.